On one of my griddle videos, a nice lady commented, "Newbie here, so don't skewer me. What's the big W sauce you added?" Which it was Worcestershire, and I call it that as a joke, but also because I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, and I sure as hell can't spell it. However, it made me sad to think that people are scared to ask questions about griddling. But I know why, because I've been in Facebook groups where a new, excited owner asks a simple question about seasoning, and then they just get the rudest, most mean-hated comments you've ever seen in your life, like, "You should know this is dumb, why did you ask this?" And it's discouraging and it's rude. And this reminded me of a video by Internet Shaquille called "What Cooking is Like for People Who Don't Cook." And I'll link it below to give him credit. And I was like, that's a nice way to approach it for people who don't cook and maybe feel intimidated. So I decided I need to do that video for new griddle owners so they don't feel intimidated. And you're always welcome to ask me questions in the comments. There are no dumb griddle questions. So here's what I think new griddle owners are kind of missing or getting wrong. Overcomplicating the seasoning and cleaning process. New griddle owners often get wrapped up in seasoning their griddle. Did I season it enough? Does this look right? There's one spot that's not all the way black, stuff like that. It can be intimidating, and I understand if you've never seasoned a griddle or a cast iron pan before. You definitely don't want to do it wrong, and you don't want to feel like you have to do it over again. But the basic process of seasoning a griddle is you turn it to high, you let it go 15-20 minutes, then you put a thin coat of oil on top of there. I use like 3 tablespoons for a 4-burner griddle. You let it burn off, that's another 15 to 20 minutes until it's not smoking. You won't see any more smoke. Then you add 3 to 4 more coats for like a total of 5 coats. It's like an hour-and-a-half process, you're burning off 5 coats, then you should have a black non-stick surface. Well, what oil should I use, Johnny? I personally have used canola, avocado, and the Blackstone seasoning. They all worked fine for me. Oftentimes I see new griddle owners going down the oil rabbit hole on the internet, and that is another scary place to be. So I would recommend just picking one of the 3 I used, or you can go down that rabbit hole if you want, but I would just pick one of the 3 I used. I know they work, and follow the instructions that came with your griddle to season it. For cleaning, you just turn it to low when you're done, you scrape it down, add a little bit of water, scrape it down again. And then you turn it off and add another little coat of oil to protect it from rust and stuff like that. You should also get a hard cover or soft cover. You really want to cover your griddle at all times. Your griddle surface probably won't stay perfect, and that's okay. Mine's not always perfect. It could have a small discoloration or a little bit of rust. It's not like a Teflon pan that is inside and it still looks brand new, just like the day you bought it, you know? It's like a grill. It's outside. It's going to get dirty. You're cooking greasy food on it, and it could get a little discoloration. So the oil at the end kind of helps, you know, keep it from rusting, but it's not guaranteed that it won't get little spots. If it does get too rusty, you can buy a pumice stone and scrub it down and get all that rust off and then re-season it. It's really never ruined. However, if you're very concerned and don't want to cook on it, if you see anything that's not perfectly black or a single spot that's discolored, then I don't know, the griddle may not be the best for you because that seems to just be inevitable. For me, other people may have perfect griddles all the time, but for me, in Ohio, it's just inevitable. Not prepping ahead. I see this a lot. I've done this a lot myself when I first got my griddle, and I still do it. I had another guy comment and say something along the lines of, "Are there any recipes where I don't have to spend an hour prepping in my kitchen like a sous chef?" I mean, the short answer is no. No, you're taking the food outside and you got to prep ahead. It's part of griddling. I don't know if it always takes an hour. I mean, if I'm doing a sausage scramble, I just need 1 pound of sausage and some scrambled eggs and cheese, so that's like 5-10 minutes. I recommend getting a cookie sheet or getting a tray to help you carry the food out from inside the prepped food, and then also help you carry the finished food back inside when it's done. I personally don't mind prepping. I think it makes me a better cook. It makes me more organized and calm during the griddling process, or any cooking process for that matter. And it's totally worth it once you're outside on the griddle cooking. Next is treating it like a grill or your stove inside. It's not like a grill where there's indirect heat. So if you throw down like a thick piece of meat with a bone in it, you need to watch the temp. You could burn the outside before it cooks through, like let's say a chicken thigh with a bone. With a grill, you're closing the lid on that, and there's direct and indirect heat around it that helps those cook through the middle. So you got to watch the temp, or cut them into thin pieces of meat like chicken breast. I thin them out. It's not like your stove, and you shouldn't cook by low, medium, or high. This is a really big one because you see the low, medium, and high on the knobs, you feel like it's similar. What you should cook by is the temperature, the griddle surface temperature, not the knobs. I have a temp chart in my ebook below that you can get, but the gist of it is a stove inside has 4 burners that are separate from each other, and they work independently of each other. A griddle is outside, so now we have 4 burners that work together. So if one's on high and one's on low next to it, the high is going to like float into it. Whereas if a stovetop, the back burner's on high and the front burner's on low, they're not going to affect each other. And we're outside, so you don't know what the temperature is where you're cooking. Like, I'm in Ohio, it's 20 degrees right now. That's why I'm filming in my fabulous garage. Look how nice this is. Professional setup here. Moral of the story is I recommend an infrared thermometer so you can know your griddle temperature. My favorite one is this 2-in-1 thermometer from ThermoPro. You can get the surface temperature with this, and then also there's a probe to check your meat, like your chicken or your steak or whatever, and get the internal temperature. To really hammer it home, I want you to think about the little $20 Hamilton Beach griddle that your mom got and would break out on snow days and make you pancakes, okay? So that dial on there has temperatures usually, not low, medium, or high, because it wants you to know the temperature. And a lot of times, like pancakes are done at 375 degrees, not like medium. So that's why you really need to know your service temperature. Trying to do too much on your first couple cooks. Oftentimes I get comments that Big Breakfast or hibachi was their first cook and it didn't really go well. Well, that's kind of got a lot going on, so it can get stressful, and I understand why maybe it didn't go well. You really need to know your temps, like I already mentioned, and the cooking order for big multi-item cooks like that, and I have a cooking order chart in that free ebook below as well. I would recommend starting with something easier like a sausage scramble or a smash burger or cheat steaks, which are like cheese steaks with ground beef. All very easy starter meals. They have less moving parts, and they're a good way to just get used to your griddle and get comfortable with cooking on it. Also, you want to start with a win. You want to start with a good meal, not a burnt meal or something, because then if you start with a bad meal, it may deter you from using your griddle more in the future. So start with a win. Going viral or viral meals. The griddle has gone, I don't know, whatever, quote unquote viral, or been real popular a lot in the past few years. And I'm not complaining. Obviously, I have benefited from it. My whole channel is about griddling, and it's grown, and I'm very, very lucky to have this opportunity. But then a lot of cooks like the Flying Dutchman with 2 onions instead of burger buns, or the smashed taco, are what people will do first or want to do, and frankly I think both of those are mediocre at best, to be honest. There's also been a lot of videos using cast iron pans on griddles for like frying or for like making cheese dips to go with it, and I am guilty. I've made these videos, and I just don't think you should do that at first either, because it takes like really long to heat up. And so you can deep fry, but then it takes forever. And who wants to spend 2.5 hours with their first cook on the griddle? So I actually have a video with all 3 of those recipes I mentioned in it, plus 2 more easy beginner recipes that I'll put up on your screen. Or if you want all 101 of my griddle recipes and everything I know about griddling, you can get my ebook in the description. It's only 15 bucks. It's literally everything I know. But that video is on your screen now. Congratulations if you just got a new griddle. Thank you for watching, and keep on griddling, friends.